Just for reference, this is the beginning of a series on Irish native domestic animal breeds. And because the series is so long, it's about 12 episodes or more, they're going to be all slightly shorter than usual. Probably around the 10-minute mark or maybe less. The Irish setter is among the noblest of animals, combining beauty and spirit with an instinctive bond to the land. That was a quote by Conor O'Brien in his book Field Notes from 1936, and that is about the Irish setter, the subject of today's episode. The Irish red setter, lean and tireless, is more than just a breed. It's a symbol of the land, its restlessness, its beauty, and its loyalty. The red setter's story is intertwined with Ireland's, shaped by class, sport, empire, and longing. The earliest accounts of red setters, or at least their ancestors, date back to the 18th century. Sporting dogs had long been part of the Irish and British aristocratic life, used for hunting game birds, particularly partridge and grouse. These early setters were red and white, used to working dense heather and bog, bred for stamina and stealth. The solid red strain we know today emerged through selective breeding, probably around the turn of the 19th century, with a focus on darker coats and a particular kind of elegance in the field. However, the red and white form still exists in a breed called the red and white setter, which you will meet later in this series. One of the key figures in shaping the breed was Jason Hazard of Timeskea, County Fermanagh, in the mid-1800s. His kennel produced dogs of both beauty and ability, including the famous Palmerston, who would come to define the Irish red setter type. Deep red coat, graceful outline, and sharp instinct. These weren't just show dogs. They were workers. Dogs who moved like music across rough ground, who knew how to find cover, freeze, and wait. In Ireland, a place where terrain and weather tests every footstep, as most of you will know, that kind of animal becomes part of the landscape. By the 1870s, the breed had moved beyond the island. English breeders started to take notice. The Irish setter was becoming fashionable, and with the fashion comes the danger. Dogs were bred for the ring rather than for the field, for appearance over ability. Coats grew longer, tails more flamboyant, and instincts less sharp. There were whispers of decline, of the soul going out of the dog. In 1882, concerned breeders in Ireland established the Irish Red Setter Club. Their goal was to defend the integrity of the breed, not just the look, but the function. They insisted on working trials. A dog had to do what it was bred for, to find birds, hold steady, and honour the landscape it had come from, which is something that I 100% agree with. Beauty was never enough on its own, and that duality, elegance and work, became central to the red setter's identity. It's why, even now, Irish breeders often favour leaner, more athletic types than their American or British counterparts. There's a sense that the Irish red setter still belongs to the Irish hills. But beyond bloodlines and field trials, the breed took on cultural meaning. In rural Ireland, they were companions. They shared kitchens and sheds. They curled beneath school desks in one-room classrooms. They padded behind men on bikes, chased after post vans, and waited at gates. They were trusted. They began appearing in stories and art. Red dogs as symbols of memory, of places, and of the unspoken tie between man and land. And perhaps that's why, when Ireland began defining its post-independence identity, the red setter was there, quiet, constant, and familiar. In 1988, Bus Éireann adopted the Irish red setter as its symbol. That long-legged, red-coated silhouette, captured mid-stride, became part of the national visual language. It wasn't just a logo, it was a message. Of motion, yes, but also of connection, of journey, and of homecoming. As if to say, this bus will bring you across the country, across generations, and across yourself, and the dog will run ahead to show you the way. It's one of those decisions that get remembered, not because it was clever, but because it felt right. because the red setter already lived in our heads as the spirit of the road. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, the breed had taken a different path. Irish emigrants brought their dogs with them to America, where they became hugely popular, particularly in the 1920s and 1930s. But in the States, show breeding once again softened the dog's edge. By mid-century, American Irish setters were famously beautiful but, in many cases, practically useless in the field. Their instincts dulled, their energy was excessive, and their focus got scattered. It led to a split. Hunting enthusiasts began restoring the field lines, building what they call working red setters, leaner, quicker, and sharper. A kind of rediscovery of what the dog had once been. And that, too, mirrors something in Ireland. This constant oscillation between forgetting and remembering, between polishing something for display and digging it out of the earth again, raw and full of fire. Here at home, because I'm Irish, in case you haven't realised from the accent and the multiple times I've mentioned it, you'll still find them in the hills of Mayo, Donegal and Kerry and all over the country. Their numbers may not be that vast, but their presence is vivid. They're not dogs you miss, they announce themselves. Even asleep by the fire, they seem ready to move. They remind us of something, maybe of ourselves, that we're a people shaped by terrain and weather, that grace and grit don't have to be opposites, that loyalty, in its own quiet way, is a form of defiance. In the end, the Irish Red Setter isn't just a breed, it's an emblem of movement, of memory, of something alive and restlessness in the Irish spirit. A red blur across a field, a tail against the air, a pair of eyes that see you and wait. And maybe that's why, even now, we just keep coming back to them. Because in a world that spins faster and grows noisier by the day, the red setter remains steady. A reminder of how to move with purpose and how to stay true to where you began.